begin, I'm just going to let you know about the chrono procedure. So each team has 20 minutes to present its case to the judges. I will hold up a sign for the last 10, 5, and 2 minutes, as well as for the last 30 seconds of the presentation. During the last 10 seconds, I will indicate with my fingers the number of seconds remaining. If you have not finished your presentation after 20 minutes, you will be stopped in order to proceed with the Q&A period. The Q&A period of a maximum of 5 minutes is allocated to the jury at the end of the presentation. And please note that at any time you cannot say or reference the name or location of the user still. And what is the letter of your team?
B.
B? Thank you. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, fellow consultants. My associates Jamie, Andre, and myself from JAB Consultants are excited and honored to be here today. Now, I'd like to begin by noting that us as humans, and yourselves of course, find ourselves frustrated at least once a week during the act of commuting or transportation. Sitting in traffic, it's a very frustrating event. Now, we place huge importance on where we go, how we get there, and how long it takes, especially in the context of our North American society that puts huge stress on timeliness. Now, I know aesthetically what we're here to do is consult the issue regarding transportation with respect to the Montreal-Trudeau Airport, but really what we're doing here is potentially increasing the quality of life of the Montreal residents and those who pass through. So I'd like you to keep that in mind throughout our consultation because with regards to the issues at hand, it's important to consider what our end goal is, thus providing you with the best recommendation and implementation. Now, through our consultation, we're going to review the present times, just so that we're on the same level on an understanding of what's going on around us within the city in regards to the airport. Then going on to the future times so we can do a contrast. This will show us where we're going to go, how we can get there, and potentially any issues that we may run into or risks. Then we're going to go, of course, with the mandate, address the strict issue here. There are many issues going on, but we're here to address the big ones and how we can solve those. Of course, with our recommendation, an analysis on how we've gotten that recommendation, and an implementation. Now, where are we right now? Well, 42% of the 12.6 million travelers that travel through the Montreal Airport, now we recognize this is a very major hub of transportation in North America, are traveling for business. Now we're going to take this into consideration, you'll see further on in the consultation, but addressing who these individuals are and what their intent is important to take into consideration. In the future, there's a projected parking shortage. We have many individuals transporting to the airport itself, and parking spots are becoming limited, especially with the increases that I'll mention within the future times. There's 28,000 employees at this airport. Now, employees is a weird thing to take into consideration, but really it does hold a large effect on the airport. You need these employees present at the airport. They need to access the airport efficiently, and thus this has a huge impact on the passengers, the airlines, and all those stakeholders associated with the airport. There's high downtown congestion. This is the major issue that we are addressing now. That's why we're here, and there needs to be a solution because it's causing problems and has a spillover effect not only on commuters with regards to going to the airport and traveling, but the residents who live in Montreal in the downtown areas, they're finding the effects of this, especially on major holidays and traveling days, so we need to find a solution for them as well. 32% of passengers reside in downtown Montreal. This is our concern. We understand that the outskirts are finding it difficult in traffic congestion for traveling, but really our main concern is the downtown core, and we feel that this is the best thing to concentrate on. And now currently, what forms of transportation are there to the airports for those traveling to the airports? Well, there's taxis, there's private cars, and private buses and public buses. These are our current options. Now, our present time key players. I want to stress the importance of knowing who we're affecting in this consultation, and by doing so, we can make them as happy as possible. Now, the Ministère de Transport du Québec, this is who we're consulted to. This is basically the individuals who we need to give the solution to. So, who are they affecting? Well, of course, the Montreal-Trudeau Airport. They have the airlines and employees. As mentioned before, we need to make those stakeholders happy within our recommended solution. We have the local environment, all these individuals taking private cars or taxis, of course, implement a larger greenhouse gas emissions and thus air pollution. So this is another factor taken into account with our consultation. And the local commuters, the downtown Montreal residents. Now the future times, where should we go? Actually, what is projected at the moment? Well, the average cost of congestion in Montreal is $7.78 million per year. This is a large expense on the city, so finding a solution to aid this congestion will have a spillover effect onto the community, and thus more money for other options and other concerns regarding the city. Projected 27% increase in numbers of passengers in 2006. Well, if we have a problem now, and with an increased number of passengers, it's only going to get worse. This is the time to fix the problem, and that's why we're here. Airport utilization will reach 100% with this increase. Now, optimally, utilization should remain around 85%. 100% utilization, that's not taking into consideration that there are excess passengers will be using the airport if these numbers were to increase and we do not find a solution. So we need to create an efficient airport here, and congestion, the transportation methods to the airport may be the solution. Need for parking space will increase with the amount of commuters increasing, of course. 25% increase in motorized comings and goings. With this increase in population of transportation comes, of course, more individuals needing to transport to the airport, an increase in air pollution. So congestion, accessibility, and environment are the three main factors that we need to take from here with the projected future times, and these are the areas that we need to find solutions for. So what is our overall problem? Well, we need to improve the access to the Montreal-Trudeau Airport from downtown Montreal. Simple as that. That's what we're going to do. So how are we going to do this? Well, we're going to introduce a reserved bus lane on Highway 20. This, of course, will address those three areas once again: congestion, accessibility to the airport, and have a positive effect on the environmental factors. André?
Maintenant, je vais continuer un peu pour montrer qu'il y a une perspective au niveau des futures années, au niveau d'une augmentation du nombre de passagers à l'aéroport Montréal-Trudeau. Tout d'abord, en 2011, il y avait environ 13 millions de passagers qui sont passés à travers l'aéroport. Et on a vu que jusqu'en 2030, qui est l'année où la compagnie devrait atteindre sa pleine capacité, on devrait atteindre un chiffre de 20 millions. Comme mon collègue Brandon a dit, on regardait initialement un taux d'utilisation de 100%, mais nous ici, on a pris 85% de notre capacité, car on sait qu'il n'est jamais bon pour une compagnie d'atteindre 100% du taux d'utilisation dû aux différentes fluctuations. Et ici, on peut voir qu'il y a de grandes opportunités au niveau du nombre de passagers dans les futures années, et ainsi il faut améliorer les congestions et le transport pour se rendre du centre-ville jusqu'à l'aéroport. Pour continuer, nous allons voir comme nous allons vraiment nous concentrer sur les habitants qui vivent au centre-ville, qui prennent l'autobus du centre-ville pour se rendre à l'aéroport. Ainsi, environ 32% des passagers viennent du centre-ville, ce qui nous donne en 2011 environ 4,16 millions de passagers. Et en 2030, ce chiffre devrait atteindre 6,4 millions, ce qui fait une augmentation de 54% de 2011 à 2030. Ainsi, il faut vraiment améliorer le transport en commun du centre-ville jusqu'à l'aéroport Montréal-Trudeau, parce que, comme vous voyez, le nombre va augmenter de 50%, ce qui est vraiment important, et nous ne voulons pas avoir une surcapacité au niveau de l'aéroport. Ma collègue Jenny va continuer.
Thanks, Andrew. So, as Brandon mentioned, our recommended solution is looking at expanding the Highway 20 to that one extra lane dedicated just to the buses. Now, first of all, we want to review some of the alternatives that we also looked at. The first one was the non-dedicated shuttle. So looking at it either from Central Station to the alternative route, there's the travel time, which is 22 to 27 minutes, so much shorter than the current with the 747 shuttle, that's 45 to an hour long. And again, our focus is on these business commuters coming from downtown. They don't want to be spending an hour on a bus before they even get to the airport, then going through customs and going through security. They're going to fly because it's much faster. So let's give them an option that lets the travelers get out of downtown quickly and that is still efficient. We want to look at the cost here. Now, looking at the Central Station, not only will they have to implement better rails as well as adding extra carts, there's a huge cost involved with the maintenance, the maintainability, and as well as these factors that the luggage transportation and there's not a direct route. So even additional costs in the fact that you have to implement enough carriers that we can also bring that bulky luggage, as a lot of people flying into Montreal are going beyond just short distances. And in addition, there's not a direct route, so you're also going to have the extra cost and the extra hassle with every individual that's coming on through the non-dedicated shuttles and having to take another bus from Dorval to the actual airport. Finally, so flexibility. We're also talking about a one line. So again, if the Trudeau Airport reaches the capacity and we begin using the airport outskirts or we develop other airports, that one line is going straight there. Now, that really reduces the flexibility in terms of once that max capacity is reached, how are we going to now get those downtown customers out to the other airports? You're going to have to invest a lot more money into those resources. And finally, your stakeholders. Now, we see there's a medium kind of concern there. It will take a lot of pleasing between you're going to be able to share the revenues. Once the cost is implemented, then you'll be able to use these resources quite well. And you're also pleasing the 747 shuttles and the other transportations, as it won't take too much away from specifically the taxi drivers and the other stakeholders. So as we look as our next alternative, we're looking just at the Aero train. Now, the main thing here is the travel time, reduced to 16 to 20 minutes from downtown Montreal. Now that is huge. But the thing is there's a very, very substantial cost related to it. $600 million just for the train, and in addition, another $20 million per year in annual costs. Now, it's also not stated on how much we will be charging each individual passenger right now. So what are going to be the returns on that investment? What are going to be your revenues? Now, in terms of flexibility, again, you've got one line going straight into this one airport. Now, what if this airport does grow to maximum utilization and flights need to be moved outside the outskirts of the city? That one line is just going to be serving that one airport. And in terms of the stakeholders, again, medium accountability. There's not any huge concerns with transferring the drivers. Again, you're going to reduce the parking as a lot of people will be using the trains. But finally, again, it's an irreversible expense. Once that train is built to that airport, that is the only line that it is going to be using. And there's going to be very minimal exposure to any other way to use that once the maximum utilization is reached. And again, there's a financing risk. That's $600 million. As much as it has been developed and where that financing has come from, there's always the risks involved with how much is going to come from that initial investment. So I want to review now our alternative 3. Again, a recommended solution. Doing the 747 shuttle, which is already established, there's already 9 key elements or 9 key spots that they pick up passengers. And the travel time with this new reduced bus lane is only going to be 22 minutes. So the main concern with the 747 is the fact that it's taking 45 to 60 minutes to get to the airport. Now, if we focus in on the one main bus line, or one main bus lane on Highway 20, we can reduce that time to 22 minutes. The cost, it's a medium cost. Yes, we will have to invest in that building that one lane, but again, the buses are already there. They already have the luggage capacity. They're going straight to the airport, so it's convenient for all the individuals that are coming from Montreal to the airport or from the airport downtown to Montreal, where the business travelers all will be coming. And finally, the stakeholders, it is pleasing all of them. There's going to be revenues in terms of using this lane, not only for the 747 shuttles, but let's work with the other areas, such as emergency vehicles. What about Greyhound? What about having contracts with them to pay to use this one single lane? Now, there's already development working on Highway 20 to develop that one lane as it is shut down right now. So in terms of congestion, once the construction is done on that one lane, we will then convert it to the bus lane. So not only will you be reducing traffic from the taxis, reducing it by 1/3, you're also reducing any other cars that are driving into the airport. So this is really reducing all the congestion on Highway 20 by just changing that one lane that is under construction right now and converting it to a bus lane. So a few of the concerns that were with the 747 shuttle was the fact that they were waiting outdoors and payment options. And in our implementation, we want to reiterate the fact on how we are going to fix and mitigate these risks. So what we will do is we'll now look at the implementation plan. Again, reiterating, introducing the reserved bus lane on Highway 20, congestion, accessibility, environment. This cures all those problems. In the Gantt chart, what we want to do is we want to build a shelter. So right now, currently, the highway is under construction on Highway 20. Once that lane is opened up, we're assuming it'll take about 2 years to get opened up for traffic from downtown to the airport. And looking at that bus lane, looking at the 2-year time frame there, again, as soon as it's developed, we can start using as much as we can with these 747 shuttles. In addition, we're going to have the shelters and the coin machines, with both two concerns of the 747 shuttle. So at those 9 stops, let's begin building buildings that can house the incoming travelers, put them under shelter, so in the wintertime they'll still be willing to use these services. The coin machines, yes, we're still assuming that it's going to cost $8 to start, but also raise with inflation. But they'll be able to use coin machines that won't just be with change. So if a traveler is coming through with a Visa card or other modes of transport or payments, such as their already paid for transportation tickets, they will be able to use those as well. And then finally, the additional contract. So after this lane is built and is being fully utilized by the 747 bus shuttle, we want to encourage you to expand your contract. So maybe Greyhound, maybe getting emergency vehicles to run on this line. And from that, we know that it will reduce congestion, as there's going to be 1/3 less taxis going to the airport. There's going to be the lanes that are going to still be used for Greyhound buses that are willing to pay a premium to get their passengers out of downtown Montreal faster. And then again, for the convenience of the emergency vehicles, having their own lane where they can get from point A to point B much faster.
Now, I mentioned earlier the key travelers, and why are they important? Well, we introduced this public transportation method, and the majority of these travelers are business travelers from out of town. They don't know where to get on these buses, they don't know how they work or whatnot, so what we need to do is we need to get this concept across to them. Well, where do all these business travelers sit for countless amount of hours? Right inside of that airplane. So what we're recommending is putting a half-page ad per year. It's about $50,000 per year in the En Route magazine within the Air Canada Airlines as well as the WestJet Airlines. It's a simple ad, explains where to get on the bus, where it takes you, and it speaks for itself. So full year ad, and this will be the extent of the marketing for these in order to encourage these individuals to utilize these new bus routes.
Continuons maintenant avec une projection des revenus. Tout d'abord, on vous amène ici une idée, mais regardons ce que cela va vous rapporter. Tout d'abord, après nos recherches, on a vu qu'environ 20% des passagers vont utiliser ce moyen de transport pour se rendre au centre-ville. Et le coût, on aimerait vraiment garder le coût à 8 $, ajusté à l'inflation environ 2% par année, qui va nous donner, ces projections-ci, environ 23 millions la première année, qui va augmenter jusqu'à environ 40 millions en 2030. Ainsi, ceci donne, au cours des 19 prochaines années, une moyenne d'environ 33 millions de dollars qui vont venir juste de ce moyen de transport-là. Maintenant, continuons avec les différents coûts qui vont être associés à cette mise en œuvre. Tout d'abord, il y a les routes. On sait déjà que l'autoroute 20 est fermée présentement dû aux constructions. Ainsi, comme ma collègue Jamie vous l'avait dit, nous allons transformer ça pour une route qui va devenir celle pour les autobus. Ainsi, pour augmenter la rapidité des travaux qui vont être faits, nous allons acheter un autre 200 millions pour que ça soit fait au cours des 2 prochaines années. En plus de ça, nous avons aussi les arrêts d'autobus qu'on va construire, car beaucoup de gens attendent dehors et beaucoup des passagers se plaignaient à ce niveau-là. Ça serait les coûts initiaux reliés à ce projet. Ensuite, il y a les coûts annuels. Tout d'abord, il y a le coût des entretiens, tout ce qui est au niveau entretien de ces nouvelles routes, des autobus, qui vont être d'environ 5 millions de dollars par année. Et ensuite, la campagne de publicité, comme mon collègue Brandon l'a spécifié, qui va être d'environ 50 000 annuellement. Pour continuer, nous allons voir la rentabilisation. Ainsi, comme nous l'avons vu, ça ne servait à rien d'investir dans un projet où on va avoir une rentabilisation qui va arriver plus tard que 2030. Ainsi, nous voulions un projet où celui-ci va être rentabilisé avant l'an 2030. Et avec celui-ci, la rentabilisation va venir autour de l'an 2020. Comment on a regardé ça? Mais on a pris les coûts initiaux et les coûts annuels ajustés au nombre de passagers qui augmente annuellement, qui nous donne environ l'an 2020 où le projet va se repayer par lui-même. Ensuite, continuant, nous allons regarder les différentes parties prenantes reliées à ce projet. Comme nous le savons, le plus difficile à ce niveau-ci, c'est qu'il y a beaucoup de parties prenantes qui entrent en jeu dans l'amélioration du transport du centre-ville jusqu'à l'aéroport. Et les 3 principaux seront les dirigeants de l'aéroport, l'AMT, qui est l'association de transport métropolitain, et la STM, qui est la Société de transport de Montréal. Tout d'abord, au niveau des dirigeants de l'aéroport, mais ceci est une bonne idée car ça va réduire la congestion, ça va réduire... Il n'y aura plus de surcapacité au niveau des stationnements, car plus de gens vont prendre le transport de commande pour voyager au centre-ville. Et aussi, ils vont être contents que les passagers soient heureux du service qu'on va leur offrir, car ça va améliorer la qualité. Au niveau de l'AMT, c'est vrai que cette idée-ci n'améliore pas directement le transport au niveau métropolitain. Cependant, dans le futur, ce qu'on peut faire, c'est utiliser cette route-là et en développer d'autres pour les gens qui vivent à l'extérieur du centre-ville de Montréal et vraiment approcher l'AMT avec ces solutions-ci. Et enfin, la STM, eh bien, ceci, il y a déjà les navettes 747 qui sont utilisées par l'AMT et on va utiliser ceci pour continuer ce projet.
In conclusion, we've hit these three areas: congestion, accessibility, and reduce the environmental impact, and thus increase the quality of life for the Montreal residents and those who travel through. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Environment. Many would argue that trains are more environmentally friendly than buses. Can you support your choice in the environment, in respect to the environmental aspects?
In terms of the flexibility, with adding the bus routes, not only are you getting 747 bus shuttles coming from downtown to Montreal, you're also increasing the fact that there's going to be less taxi drivers. Those 1/3 reduction in the taxi cars that will be driving to and from the airport. You're also decreasing the amount of cars that will be parking, so not only will you be able to save on the expansion of the parking at the Montreal Trudeau Airport, you'll also be reducing the construction that needs to go on to house this train yard coming in to the station. And in terms of the flexibility, it definitely outweighs the fact that the minimal difference between the trains as well as the buses, because if there is a change between where the airport will be, once it reaches the maximum utilization, you will be able to use those buses in other ways. So that investment isn't going to be lost.
Do you really think that you're going to go up to 20% of the clientele with the reserve lane in the 747? And why?
Can you please repeat the question?
The market share was you will go up to
20%?
20%.
Yeah, what we suggest is that using this mode of transport, a lot of people that use the taxis will become the clients of that the new bus that goes directly to the city center. And as it's a fast way to go to, because now people usually don't use buses because it takes almost an hour to get from downtown to the airport. However, with this bus, we will also target all the business people, which is a really important target. As my colleague Brendan mentioned, 42% of people coming to Montreal is for business purposes. And with the current navette that we have, the 747, they are adapted for those business people.
And how about what about the comfort between a bus and the other solutions like the train? What do you think about that?
Well, currently, we know that those buses are also adapted for business people. That's why we want to continue with the navette 747, because they are adapted for business people to have luggage space, really comfortable, and we really want to target those business people as they are the ones that travel to the city center. We are aware that also the train is a comfortable mode of transport, but the bus can be also one, depending how we create it.
With the 20% capacity increase in the bus lane, it will go up, 20% of the passengers will be using the bus lane. Do you think you need any capacity adjustments? Do you need more buses? Do you need more infrastructure to accommodate this?
What we currently see is that with all the buses that we have now, we can go with this solution. But now, over years, for sure, we will be able to purchase new buses, because we are sure that over the next years, it will be more than 20%. As more you develop, more people will come with the buses, as it's a cheaper mode of transport and it's comfortable and it gets you faster to city center. A lot of people think that business people will come and use a taxi. However, if it may be faster to take the bus using 22 minutes instead of the taxi, they will switch toward using the public transport. And we did our projection with 20%. However, we know that it will be more than that over the next years.
Last question. What do you mean by have additional contracts in marketing?
That was in terms of then if we needed to make more revenues in terms of the Greyhounds using those bus lanes, as again it will be monitored by the Ministry of Transportation in terms of who can use those lanes. So if it's just for the 747s, by monitoring how busy they are, how efficient they are, then we can start contracting out to Greyhound. You can start contracting out to other Metro users in terms of what other buses can come on that lane. But as long as it's monitored and the efficiency is still in place, we know we will still be able to please the clients that are going directly from downtown to the airport, but as well as any individual that's on public transport that wants to get out of the city or into the city as well.
Good